everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I know it's been a minute. It's always going to be a minute because I am a single mom with 3 boys and I'm always busy and they are always on my back. So I really never get a chance to record. So anyways, today I would like to tell you how I became a single mom, my story and my truth. So I'm gonna tell you that I have two parties, or two men should I say, and one is the boyfriend that I was with first. I'm gonna just call him the boyfriend, and the other one is my kid's father, baby daddy, whatever you want to call him. So let's get started. So basically in 2005 I met a guy, my boyfriend, and I was walking down the street. Basically he hollered at me, we exchanged numbers, we talked for about 3 to 4 weeks, probably like 3 weeks, and next thing I know, when I talked to him, he was in jail. So I was like, are you kidding? Like, I thought it was a whole joke, but it wasn't. So he asked me would I, be his pen pal and keep in touch, and basically I did. I would go visit him, write him, whatever the case may be. He got probably 7, I think, months, if not 8. And I basically was, sticking by his side. So I ended up going to a friend's house and chilling with her, which was my baby daddy's sister, and we went to school together. Anyways, so we ended up chilling one day, and she had went to this park where everybody was hanging out, and her brother was actually there. And it was like so many people out. It was hot that day. We was chilling. It was cool. We were just having fun. And it was like 20, if not more, niggas outside and standing around and talking. And I basically like zoomed in on him, and he started walking to the car, and I asked her who he was, and she was like, that's my brother. And I was like, oh, okay. So he got in the car, they started talking. I started watching him through the headrest. All I seen was gold teeth and a dark, like, brown skinned guy that was, black, but he didn't look black. He looked mixed to me. So I just kept staring at him and looking at him. He just smiling and cheesing, and I'm just like, oh, okay, I see you. He pulled out his little money, and he trying to floss, and I'm just like, oh, okay. So I was already mad at my mom because I wanted her to get my hair done and she wouldn't. So I already had a lightweight attitude or whatever. So basically they continued to talk, and I asked her, because she dropped me off at my car. So she did, and I said bye to everybody, and I went on my way. So she ended up calling me after that and telling me that they had a conversation, and he was asking why I was mad, and she was like, because her mom want to get her hair done for her, and he was like, oh, I'll get her hair done for her, that's nothing. So basically she told me that he would get my hair done and to call him. So I was like, what? And I thought he was playing. I'm like, okay, I don't even know this man, and he gonna get my hair done? Like, okay. So anyways, the next day I called him, and basically he was like, my sister said you want to get your hair done, and you was mad because your mom wouldn't pay for it. I'll pay for it, it's nothing. And I'm like, what? And he like, yeah. So I'm like, okay, whatever. I didn't think nothing of it. And he like, when you want to get it done? So I was like, well, let me call the shop and see if I can come in tomorrow. And so I called the shop, and they was like, yeah. And I ended up calling him back, and I was like, I made the appointment, is tomorrow in the morning. And he was like, okay, just pull up to my house at 7 in the morning and we'll go. And I was just like, okay. So I didn't believe nothing until I actually pulled up to his house at 7 in the morning, and he came out, and we went to the hair salon. And this man, when I tell you this man like stayed there with me, I was in the shop for at least 8 hours. And he was watching TV. He ended up falling asleep. Everybody was like, who is that? Who man is that? I wish my man would have, you know, came in the shop with me and stayed with me the whole time. And I was just like looking like, yeah, he's mine. Don't touch him. And so, you know, I was done. He got up and paid for it. And then we went to, we left. So I wanted him to really see my place because I had just got my first place not too long after that, I believe. No, actually, I've been had my place. So, you know, I tried to, you know, tell him I wanted him to come over. And he was like, I can't right now. Like, I got to go back to the block. And I'm like, the block gonna be there. Like, you can come to my house or whatever for a little bit. So we went to my house. And we just started talking, getting to know each other more. And I felt comfortable because, first of all, I knew his sister. And I knew that she wouldn't, you know, just let me go with any man. And at the same time, that was her brother. So I knew that I was safe and secure as far as that goes. So we, you know, was looking at my pictures and my photo albums and so forth and so on. We came across my boyfriend, and I was telling him, like, this is my boyfriend. This is who I've been with for a few months now, and he's incarcerated, whatever the case may be. And he was like, what? I know him. We used to, you know, ride cars back to back, whatever. And I'm just like, oh, great. Like, it never fails. Like, this world is so small. So anyways, I'm just like, great. So he like, okay, well, you know, you got a boyfriend. So, you know, I ain't trying to interrupt that. You know, I'm not trying to break up no happy home, whatever the case may be. And I'm like, well, I feel you. However, he's in jail and I'm going to break up with him because I've already been thinking about it because I'm tired of waiting on him. So he basically gave me options and was like, you could either be with him and just be my friend. You can leave him alone and be with me, or you could just mess with both of us, or whatever the case may be. And I was just like, what? Like, what man sit up here and give you options? Like, what? So I was just like, I'ma just, you know, break it off. So basically, I got at my boyfriend. I broke it off and told him that I couldn't, you know, mess with him no more, that I had found somebody new. But I had wrote him a Dear John letter, and this was probably like a month and a half before he got out. And I sent it off, and actually had my cousin send it off, and she did. And I knew he was gonna tell me he never got it. But anyway, so I, you know, stopped talking to him completely. So in the meantime, in between time, I ended up, you know, being around my baby daddy and kicking it with him, and we was just getting along, and he was just doing all the right things, and he just was really good to me. He was a good man to me. So I ended up at the last minute, which was the day that my boyfriend had got released, he called me, and I ended up meeting up with him. And basically we ended up meeting up, and and I went to a party with him that night, and we had sex. And of course, I wasn't being responsible and using protection. And so he, of course, you know, nutted at me. And that was that. So in the meantime, I got my baby daddy calling me, blowing on my phone because he ready to come home, ready for me to come get him. And I'm just ignoring him the whole time. And I just was panicking because I'm like, oh my God. Mind you, let me rewind. Before we went to the house to have intercourse, I told my boyfriend at the lake that I had met this guy. I ended up telling him who he was. I ended up telling him everything. And I ended up telling him everything that I told my baby daddy. So they were, you know, he was just like, okay, so what are you gonna do? Like, I know, dude, you know. And I was like, that's the same thing he said, whatever the case may be. And I'm like, well, I had wrote you a Dear John letter. Like, didn't you get it? And he was like, no. And I was like, well, I wrote you a letter. I was explaining everything about, you know, how I found somebody else, how I'm tired of waiting for you, how I found somebody else, how, you know, I want to call it off, and, you know, I wish you the best. Talk to you later. Or whatever else I said. I can't remember verbatim because that was years ago. But anyway, so he just was like, so what you gonna do? And I just pretty much told them both that I was gonna leave one another alone. However, I didn't do that. And for some reason, I started to feel bad that I was choosing my baby daddy over him, because for one, I was already talking to him before my baby daddy, and then I kind of felt bad because I'm like, you should be living with me instead of my baby daddy, because at that time we had started moving in and we was just good, me and my baby daddy. But I just felt bad all of a sudden. I just felt bad, and I felt like I was being wrong towards him, and that's basically how it happened. It wasn't that I wanted to be with two niggas, because I'm not a hoe, I'm not a slut. I just really started feeling bad, and that may sound stupid to everybody else, but that's how I felt, and that's what it was. So anyway, you know, I told him I was gonna leave him alone, even though I didn't mean it, and I didn't want to leave him alone, because like I said, our relationship was peaches and cream. It was just, everything was going so good, and he was good to me. And in all actuality, you know, I never got a chance to be with my boyfriend. Like I said, we met, and 3 weeks later, we was talking on the phone. 3 weeks later, he was in jail. So it was like we had a jail relationship, if anything. But anyways, so then we went to the house, we did the do, and I ended up going to my friend's house, and we ended up chilling over there, me and my boyfriend. Mind you, my baby daddy blowing me up, leaving me messages, and my friend ended up living right around the corner from where my baby daddy was, you know, on the block at. And she told me, do not park your car over here. He is going to know this your car. He gonna come over here. It's gonna be a whole, you know, big blowout. And I'm like, girl, he ain't finna come over here. Not even tripping, not even thinking he was gonna come over there. But in all actuality, he did. Me, her, and my boyfriend in the house, me and him chilling, and I just hear somebody, actually we was drinking, so he ended up passing out on this couch, and me and my friend was just talking, and all of a sudden we heard some honking at, like, I want to say 2 or 3 in the morning. And we just both looked at each other, and I'm like, oh my God, that is not him. Because I'm thinking, like, he ain't finna come over here. Like, he don't even know I'm over here. Like, you know, but little did I know, he knew every single thing about me. Like, that man studied me, and he told me that before. So anyway, what happened? So I'm like, oh my God, this is not this man outside honking at 2 and 3 in the morning. And so sure enough, it was. So he gets to, you know, my friend like, Shay, you better go out there, because he honking, and he, you know, you need to go out there. And I'm just like, oh my God, no, he finna kill me. So he ended up getting out, knocking on everybody's door in the apartment complex, banging on it at 3 in the morning. And I'm like, oh my God. And she like, Shay, you need to go. And I'm just like, oh my God, he gonna kill me. So I finally, you know, go outside, open the door, and he like, you know, going off on me. What you, where you been? Why you ain't been answering your phone? Why you, you know, ignoring me? And I'm just like, oh my God, he's finna kill me when I get in this car. So I'm like, what is you tripping for? Why are you banging on everybody's door? What's wrong with you? You know, we going back and forth about it. So basically I get in the car, we drive down the street, around the corner and down the street. We ain't even halfway in the middle of the street. And this man stops my car and turns the ignition off and just gets out with my key and leave me right in the middle of the street. And I'm just like, are you serious? Like, what? And I'm just looking around because I'm just like, I can't believe he did it. So the windows is down, everything. So I have my, you know, my purse, my phone, my boyfriend phone in there. And I end up leaving his phone and taking my purse and my phone. And I start walking away. So I'm about to walk back to her house because I'm like, I'm not finna sit in the middle of the street. So I put the hazards on and I got out and start walking. This man come around the corner, jump in my car, drive off, reverse, throw my boyfriend phone out the window and say, here, you probably gonna need this, and drive off. And I'm just like, exactly looking like this. Like, did this man just really do this to me? Like, you just gonna leave me out here? So I'm like, okay, well, here I go again. I'm about to go back to her house because I'm not finna be outside. So I'm going back to her house, and here he go, coming around the corner. Get in the car, get in the car. And I'm like, oh, this man is a nut. So we get in the car. I don't even really think we talked about it like that. We just ended up leaving it alone. And I think as long as I got in the car with him, he was fine. I'm not sure if we argued about it that morning because I can't remember everything. But anyways, I think we had just let it go. So basically, I end up calling, what happened? I end up going home with him. I just remember my boyfriend calling me the next day and was like, what happened? I'm like, you done passed out on the couch. He didn't, you know, came over there and we got into it and I went home with him and, you know, just explaining the situation. Somehow, me and my boyfriend ended up meeting back up and we started messing with each other again. So I'm just constantly going outside to mess with him and not even tripping off of my baby daddy really. Like I was, but then it became a point in time where I just started messing with my boyfriend completely while my baby daddy was living at my house. And I just remember getting really, really sick one day and found out I was pregnant. And I'm just like, oh my God. So like I said, I had already been having, of course, intercourse with my baby daddy, of course, before he got out of jail. However, I didn't get sick until after I had intercourse with the boyfriend. So that's why I never knew who baby it was, because I wasn't sure. I didn't get sick until after the fact. So I'm sick as a dog. Sick as a dog. And I'm just sick and I can't go nowhere. I can't do nothing. So my baby daddy is at the house with me and he see me throwing up and he like, look at your stupid ass. You pregnant, you know, and you know, he took care of me that day. But after that, he wasn't fucking with me at all. So once I got the strength to, you know, really have the energy and get up and move around and leave, I had left. And I just remember it was like a, what's the word I'm looking for? We would just like, it was like a hit and miss with me and my baby daddy. Like when I came home, he would be gone for 5 days. And when I left, he would be home. And when I came back, he would be gone again. And it was just like that constantly. So, it was just like that, period. So then, like, when I wanted to do right by him and come home, he was not there. And I was like, okay, well, shit, if you ain't gonna be here, then fuck it. I'm finna really fuck with my boyfriend. So I ended up really, that's when I really started fucking with my boyfriend. And so I remember in the process, my boyfriend had came over to the house because, you know, my baby daddy wasn't there. So I'm like, shit, you could come over. And I remember my baby daddy knocking on the door, and I was like, oh shit, he here. So I told my boyfriend to go hide in the laundry room, because my apartment was right here and then the laundry room was across the hall. So I was like, please, I don't want it to be no shit between y'all. I don't want y'all fighting. Like, just please do this time. And he was like, you got me fucked up, but I'm gonna do it. So he did it. So then I let my baby daddy in. And then I think that's the day we started arguing, and I was like, you've been gone for 5 days. And he was like, you've been gone too, whatever. We going back and forth. So my boyfriend ended up leaving out of the wash house, of course. And then, you know, we had talked or whatever, and he was just like, you need to put him out so I could come live there. And I was just like, okay, I will, just let me do what I gotta do. But the day that I tried, that night when I tried to put him out, he was not going nowhere. He was like, you got me fucked up, I ain't going nowhere. And I was just like, oh my God. So I probably was, I remember being 3 months and 3 months pregnant. And I remember going to the block where my baby daddy was, and I remember him telling me, you know, he was upset because he felt like, I haven't did nothing wrong to you. I've been faithful to you. I've been treating you good. You know, I told you before we even started in the process, like, please don't hurt me, because I've been hurt before by my first baby mama, and she broke my heart, and I just don't need that. And I promised I wouldn't hurt him. And I meant that. I really did. However, that's not how it unfolded. So anyways, he was, you know, mad. And I just remember him saying, he pushed me against the wall, and he was like, you better have an abortion to find out who baby it is, because if that's my baby, I'm not taking care of it. And I was like, you ain't got to take care of my baby. I'll take care of my baby by myself. Like, nigga, I don't need you. Let me tell you, he held me to that. He held me to that. So he was like, all right, well, fuck it. So then at that point, we just really was just doing us. Like, he was doing him, I was doing me. And in the process, I was messing with my boyfriend. So, what else? So, like I said, I was just getting hella sick. And I just remember going and telling my uncle that I didn't want my baby daddy there no more, because he was dogging me at this point. Like, he was just not coming home, treating me like shit, you know. And I just was tired of it, and I was pregnant and sick, and I was just like, fuck it, it's over. Like, we ain't gonna be together. So, you know, and it's because of me, so it is what it is. So I told my uncle, like, I don't want him there. Could you make him leave? You know, because he ain't listening to me. You know, and I guess, you know, my uncle said he went to the block and, you know, seen him and hollered at him or whatever. So 30 days went by. So at this point, I let my boyfriend come stay with me. So I told my boyfriend, I said, next time he come over here, you can open the door for him, because his stuff was still there. And he was like, all right, whatever. So I just remember him being gone for 30 whole days. Well, at that point, I told my boyfriend he could live with me after the 30 days. And he came and he knocked on the door, and I told my boyfriend go answer it. And he went to go answer it, and they was just hella quiet. And I'm just like, why are they so quiet? Like, oh, they talking. They think they slick. I'm not stupid. So they come in. My baby daddy don't even look at me. I'm like 5 months probably, if not 3 or 4. He just like pissed. And so he started taking his stuff to the car, and my boyfriend like, you want me to help you? And he like, I ain't tripping. And they started helping each other, and then he was gone, and that was that. And then me and my boyfriend just became, you know, real close and was together ever since then. So I didn't have no contact with my baby daddy. I just kept hearing from, you know, his family or friends, or, you know, through the streets, that he was like, fuck her, fuck that bitch, you know, she a hoe, she this, she that, whatever the case may be. She don't know who our baby daddy is. And I guess everybody was telling him that and making fun of him, and, you know, had shit to say, or whatever the case may be. So I ended up basically just, you know, messing with my boyfriend, and I had my son. And then he came to the hospital. He was at the hospital with me. He seen him born. And I just remember him looking at my son, and it was like a look like, yeah, you not mine, you his. However, I just remember my boyfriend saying, you know, can we just, you know, say it's mine and not tell him? And I was just like, no, that's wrong. Like, why would I not tell him this his son? And he looked just like him. Like, I wouldn't even be able to get away with it if I wanted to. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm not finna do that. Like, no. But I ended up naming my son after him. And you know, it just was what it was. So anyway, my son, you know, we brought my son home. My boyfriend was cool. And then all of a sudden, he just started leaving. And he was just doing crazy stuff with the crazy people he was hanging around. And I would call his phone, and he would hang up, or bitches would answer and hang up. And I was just like, oh, hell no. Like, I'm done. I'm not finna do this, especially not with no newborn. And, you know, of course he knew it wasn't his son, and I knew it wasn't his son. So, you know, it was what it was. He just started acting up. So I was like, fuck this. I'm about to move with my mom. I'm not finna be out here no more. I'm not finna raise my son in Oakland no more. Like, I'm getting us up out of the hood. So I did. And I just remember I still kept in contact with him. Of course, you know, he was saying my son was his. My son was around him like for that short amount of time in his family, and they treated my son good. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if they thought it was his baby, or they just was like, it don't matter, or I don't know really how they felt, but they you know, welcomed my son and was good to him. And I just remember a few months went by, probably when my son was like, I want to say 6 months old. It don't even seem like it was that long, but maybe like my son was 6 months old and I got the paternity test and my boyfriend wasn't the dad. It ended up being my baby daddy. And, you know, I was just so hurt because, you know, I was just like, dang, like, you know, we was rocking, and it just was, I don't know, it was just an emotional time for me, and I really was hurt that he wasn't, and I was hurt that he was hurt. So we was both on the phone. I was crying. I don't know if he was, but yeah, it was a sad moment, and it just was, I was bittersweet because I was like, well, now I really know for sure, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not holding it over nobody's head, and nobody has to worry. Everybody knows, you know what I'm saying? And we still kept in contact. However, I really didn't deal with him that much. When I got my place, he came over a few times, and we was cool. And then, I don't know, it was just like, to me, he was kind of different. I don't know. It just was stuff that he was doing that I didn't like still. So I just, at one point, stopped messing with him. And then I went looking for my baby daddy. He was, of course, incarcerated. And when he got out, I was at the parole office with my son. I remember my mom telling me, Shay, he gonna be here. Go to the parole office. He gonna be here. He gotta check in. He just got out of jail. And I'm like, Mom. And she like, I'm telling you, just drop me off right here at the BART station so I could go to work and you could sit right here. And I'm like, all right. I got my newborn in my hand and we in the parole office waiting for him to pull up. And you know, when you at the parole office, you could see out, but you can't see in. So here he go pulling up with his friend, and I'm like, there go your daddy. And I just knew it wasn't gonna be good, because he, you know, ain't seen me. I done cheated on this man. I done named his son somebody else's. Like, he just, you know, wasn't gonna be happy to see me at all. So I just remember him coming in, and he was with he was talking to this dude that he knew that was in there also with his girl. And I just remember him saying something, because I was talking to my son before he pulled up, and the guy heard me. And I was just like standing there, and he had his back turned to me, and then his friend said something, and he turned around, and I was like, hey, what's up? And I was like, here go your son. And he just was like, what the fuck? Hella caught off guard. And he was like what? Like, it was, you know, just all new to him. And he was just like, I was like, here, hold your son. And he held him for like 2 minutes and gave him back and was hella mad. And then, you know, he wasn't talking to me. He ended up just walking off or going to check in or whatever the case may be. And I just left. I was just like, okay, I guess that's it. So I just, you know, went about my business. Of course, his family was saying, that's your son, that's your son. And I showed him, he took the paternity test when he was incarcerated, so he knew it was his son for sure. So everybody knew, probably even before. But yeah, so it was just like, after that, somehow we ended up meeting up and talking, and me and my son was around his family, and he would, you know, come and go, or, you know, he really wouldn't say much to me. If anything, he was dogging me. He was treating me like shit. He didn't really fuck with my son at all. I remember he wanted to hold my, you know, like he held my son or talked to him like once or twice. And, you know, it was like, he just was hurt and mad, and he did not fuck with me. He just dogged me. I remember crying to this man in his face with his friends around in the car. And he was like, I don't give a fuck about you crying. You wasn't crying when you was sucking a nigga dick. And, you know, you was doing this, that, and the third with the nigga. So don't cry to me now. And I cried. And I was hurt. I was sorry. I was hurt. I apologized a million times. Like, I did everything in my power to get him back. And he was not fucking with me. And I remember one time he was outside with all his niggas, and I pulled up with my son to his friend's house, and he was talking shit and was like, oh, who is this? Is that your baby mama? Is that your baby? Or is that your baby? Oh, is that your baby? We don't know who baby that is. Just, you know, being childish. And I was just like, whatever. Like, you know, this your fucking baby. Like, you need to stop. And he just was acting ignorant. And so, I just remember his friend mom telling him to leave me alone or whatever, and I just got in the car and left. But every time I would come in contact with him, he would always dog me. He would always, you know, make false promises. He would never deal with my son. He would never do anything for my son. All he has done was probably buy him an ice cream cone and some milk, if the milk. So, you know, I used to blame myself, you know, and I tried to get him to be a father for 8 years and make it up to him for 8 years, and he never did neither. He never forgave me, and he never was a dad. So I would always blame myself until after them 8 years, I was done. I was like, you're not going to be a dad. You're not going to forgive me. So I'm done. 8 years? Like, come on. Like, that's real love. So, like, no, I'm done. So basically I was done, and it just was, after that it was false promises, and I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna take him here, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna come see him. He never did nothing. And every time we was together, I came to him or came around him, and it was what it was. So you know, I'm not proud of my mistakes. Like, it was a mistake, and I wish that I could take it back. you know, I wish that I would have just not even cheated on him. I wish that I would have just told my boyfriend how I felt and told him that I didn't want to be with him no more and called it off and went on my, went about my way. And I wish I would have just stayed with him and we would have had my son and been happy. However, everybody in the world, my circle and everybody else, tells me that don't blame yourself, don't beat yourself up, you made a mistake. However, it don't matter what you did to him. That shouldn't have had nothing, that don't have nothing to do with his son, and it shouldn't have made him stay away from his son. And I agree 100% with that. So, you know, I'm a forgiving person, and, you know, right is right and wrong is wrong, and he was wrong. He was wrong for not taking care of my son, and my son is 14 right now. And, you know, he don't know his dad like that. You know what I'm saying? He's been around him a few times, but he's never been a dad to him. So he don't really know, and he blames me for it. And I've told my son, like, the whole truth and nothing but the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm an honest person. I'm real, raw, and uncut. I don't have to sugarcoat nothing. And I'm going to tell it like it is. You know what I'm saying? And I'm, you know, like I said, I'm here to speak my truth. So, at the end of the day, it happened. It wasn't right. And my boyfriend didn't even deserve to be in that situation and hurt. You know what I'm saying? I hurt everybody in the situation. I hurt myself, I hurt my boyfriend, I hurt my baby daddy, I hurt my son. You know what I'm saying? My baby daddy hurt my son. Like, you know, so it wasn't healthy for nobody. And if I could take it back, I would. And that's my story, that's my truth, and I'm sticking to it. So that's how I became a single mom with my first son. And you know, it just was something that I had to learn to deal with. It was, you know, it wasn't a choice that I wanted to make or that happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have a choice. I couldn't make him be a dad. I couldn't make him forgive me. However, I did feel his pain, and I seen, you know, how it affected him. But like I said, it didn't have nothing to do with my son. You should have still been a father to my son, period, point blank. And I forgave him and just moved on with my life. So that's my truth. And of course, along the way, I had help from my mom with my oldest son. You know what I'm saying? My little brother, Junior. They always been my support system. They always helped me with my sons and been there for me. And I appreciate you, Mom and little brother Junior. And I love you guys. And it take a village to raise a kid, let me tell you. I was a little bit stressed out with my first son. I feel like a little tiny bit, or maybe overwhelmed. I don't really know. I don't feel like I was like I am with the twins. Like, it's different. And it was just one kid, not two. So that makes a huge difference. However, me and my oldest son been through some tough times together, and he's done seen everything unfold and heard everything. So, you know, it's not something that I wanted to expose to him. However, you know, like, he needed to know the truth behind me and his dad. And he, you know, he needs to know about life and situations. And I remember one time when I didn't have no car, and it was pouring down, raining, and me and my son, I had to walk him to school. I remember walking him to school and walking back home. I would say it was like 9 long blocks, if not more. And it was pouring down, raining both times. I mean, pouring down, raining. And I just remember us walking up this steep hill, because we lived up a hill and it was real steep. And he was like, "Mom, can you please get us a car?" And I was like, yeah, baby, I'll get you a car. And it was another time, I think he was like, Mom, my legs hurt. My legs are hurting. I'm tired of walking. And I just felt so bad. I just started crying. And I was just like, you know, wiping my face so he wouldn't see me. And I was like, son, I promise you, I'm going to get us a car. And, you know, it hurt me as a mom to see and hear my son going through that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was difficult. It was a difficult time for me. However, I ended up getting the money together and saving it and got more and got me and my baby a car. It wasn't the car I wanted. Lord knows it wasn't. However, it was a car that was going to get us from A to B. So I just put my pride aside and, you know, was like, it's either this car or we going to be in the rain. And sometimes we was even in the blazing hot sun. And I didn't really ask for nobody for nothing unless it was my mom, my little brother, and or like my neighbor that I call my big sis. But other than that, and I barely asked her for a ride. Like, I didn't ask nobody for nothing unless it was my mama. And I just was like, I can't do this no more. Like, my baby crying, I'm crying, I'm tired of walking, his legs hurting. Like, this is not cool. So I got the car. I got me and my baby a car. It was, it was a lot. It was a lot. I done been through a lot. So I just remember that in particular, like that moment, and I'll never forget it. And it made me stronger. It made me a strong mom. It made me stronger as a person, as a woman. And, you know, it just lets you know that when you have kids, you have to sacrifice and you got to put them first. Like, it should always be you first. However, it be your kid first, really. But yeah, so I just wanted to share that with y'all. Like I said, you know, things happen and mistakes happen, and I just try not to make the same mistakes that I made before and be a better me. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, comment below, and I'll see you soon. Thank you for watching.